The Danish have a word for dealing with this time of year. Not like the Danish meaning like the pastries, I mean like people from Denmark. Their word for this time of year looks like hygge, I think to us English speakers, but to the people of Denmark, I'm told the word is pronounced more like hygge. I like to think it has something to do with hug. Hygge apparently means something basically equivalent to coziness or cuddling. And so it comes in handy this time of year when our part of the Earth tilts away from the sun and the days get way too short while the nights get longer and longer and longer. This time of year in cold Denmark, they rely on this word. They rely on hygge to keep the dark away, to keep the darkness of the season from winning and defeating us all. Look at this. It can be so dark in Denmark, look, this time of year, that for the few moments when it is light outside, they swaddle the babies up and roll them outside for nap time. Outdoors in the winter in their strollers, just so the little buggers can get some precious moments of sun. You can't afford to sleep through the sun when there's that little of it. In our country, we do have places that get very little sun this time of year, like Alaska or Maine, anywhere pretty far north. But we also have a whole swath of our country that we call the Sun Belt. Hello, Arizona, right? Here comes the sun, even in wintertime. In Arizona, they have acres and acres of sun-baked desert. They have a football mascot that's named the Sun Devil. They play in Sun Devil Stadium. When the Washington State Husky ran away with the Arizona Sun Devil this year, that was just a chew toy version. The real Sun Devils won the game by 14 points. Arizona really is one of those places where the sun wins. The sun is the whole point of the Arizona state flag. Your baby can safely sleep inside. For many thousands of people who love Arizona and who move there from other less warm parts of the country, the sun is basically the whole point of Arizona. But last year in Arizona, the sun nearly lost a round.
We've seen this before.
The true engine of economic growth will always be companies like Solyndra.
Connected companies getting corporate welfare. Now California's new Solyndra, Sunrun, and Solar City are getting rich off hardworking Arizonans. Out-of-state billionaires using your hard-earned dollars to subsidize their wealthy customers. It's not right. We don't need this California-style corporate welfare in Arizona. Get the facts about these out-of-state solar companies at azsolarfacts.com.
Solar companies. Conservatives last year came up with a plan in Arizona to demonize solar energy, specifically to fine people $50 to $100 every month for the crime of using solar power. In Arizona, in the land of the sun, the original plan was that you'd have to pay $50 to $100 every month to use solar power in Arizona. Eventually, the fine got winnowed down to $5. So it's basically a $5 fee that you have to pay if you want to use the sun as a source of energy in Arizona. Amazing. Land of the right? The flag, the Arizona. Now it's happening again in the only place in America that is more synonymous with sun than the state of Arizona is.
Have you tried chilled orange juice from Florida? It comes in a handy carton like this, squeezed, chilled, and ready to serve. Now you can buy it at your food store or have it delivered at your door. And it's got everything, too. Vitamin C, quick energy, wonderful flavor, and it's packed with that Florida sunshine.
Packed with that Florida sunshine. Florida is, technically speaking, the Sunshine State. That's their official state nickname, and they do not mean it as a metaphor. They mean that as a founding principle, right? A main attraction of what Florida is. The Florida Department of Citrus has a new branded Avengers character called Captain Citrus. Captain Citrus runs on solar power. The circles on his hands are solar pods. Maybe it's my solar pods, but you're going down. Florida is so much the Sunshine State that the whole ad campaign for the city of Fort Lauderdale is called Find Your Sunny. And you can find Fort Lauderdale at sunny.org. Explore your sunny side in Florida, the Sunshine State. And so now, naturally, because it's Florida, Florida has declared war on the sun, even as it still wants to be known as the Sunshine State. This past week, very quietly, just before Thanksgiving, Florida, incredibly, decided to try to kill solar power in the state of Florida. They voted to kill entirely the rebate program in the state for installing solar panels. At the same time, they told Florida power companies that they basically should stop their efforts to conserve energy. Duke Energy had pledged that by 5 years from now, they would come up with a way to conserve 333 gigawatt hours of energy. Florida, just before Thanksgiving, just last week, decided to cut that from 333 to 21. Tampa Electric, by comparison, they'd pledged to save almost nothing over the next 5 years. Now Florida says they have to save less than half of nothing. Look at the numbers from Florida Power and Light. Florida Power and Light was going to find a way to save 229 gigawatt hours of energy. That's what they'd pledged. Now Florida says, don't sweat it. They dropped that goal from 229 hours to 4 hours. And they killed the program for solar power in the Sunshine State. Power companies, utilities, right, they make money by selling power. The more power you use, the more they can sell you, and therefore the more money they make. If you make the power yourself from the sun, the solar panels on your roof, right, or if you or they or anybody finds a way to use less power, then they're selling less power and they make less money. And so Florida, right now, at the request of the utility companies, right before Thanksgiving, very quietly, just decided to stop conserving energy as a state policy. They're no longer even going to try to do that. And they've decided to unplug from the sun in the Sunshine State. It's amazing. It's interesting here in the politics. One of the groups that protested against these changes in Florida, before Florida made these changes last week, was a group called the Green Tea Coalition. Yes, they are, in fact, a Tea Party group that is super right-wing like the rest of the Tea Party, but they like the idea of people making their own electricity and people having choices on how to make their own electricity. Getting rid of solar power, even fining people for using the sun, trying to make everybody use fossil fuel power from power plants and as much of it as possible. This is a thing now in Republican politics. It's not getting a lot of attention. It's not getting any Beltway attention. But they have just done this in Arizona this past year. They are gearing up to try again to do it in Kansas. And now they have done it in the biggest state yet. Now they have done it in Florida. In the Sunshine State, they have decided they are against the sun. I don't know what Captain Citrus's politics are, but I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to be mad about this when he finds out what Florida just did, when that very, very quiet news starts to get out.